The Uzbekistan, a key country in Central Asia, spans a whopping 447,000 square kilometers. Despite its vast territory, lots of it are less livable due to deserts and mountains. With a population of around 35 million, it's the most populous country in its region. Tashkent, the capital, isn't just the main entry point for folks visiting Uzbekistan, but it was also a major hub during the Soviet Union days, coming in just behind Moscow and St. Petersburg in popularity. Nowadays, Tashkent is home to about 3 million people. Interestingly, Uzbekistan is landlocked, with only lakes and rivers within its borders. The Aral Sea, once one of the biggest lakes in the world, called a sea because it was so darn huge, is now just a fraction of its former self, standing out for its dramatic shrinkage. Plus, Uzbekistan is making waves globally as a major gold producer, ranking 4th worldwide in that game. The country isn't just all about the gold rush, it's loaded with other mineral goodies like uranium. Uzbekistan's soil is crazy fertile, making it one of the top 5 cotton producers worldwide. And hey, it's not just cotton they're rolling in. The country's sitting pretty on natural resources like natural gas, oil, and coal. Historically, Uzbekistan was the hotspot in Central Asia, a crucial trading post on the ancient Silk Road, linking China to Europe. This crossroads wasn't just about trading goods, it was a melting pot of cultures colliding. The lush and sought-after land of Uzbekistan has been on the radar of big historical figures like Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan. That Khan guy with his Mongols really shook things up in the country back in the day. Then came Timur, also known as Tamerlane, who took over Uzbek territory. Timur was all about arts and culture, bringing scholars and thinkers from all over to Samarkand, turning it into a buzzing cultural hub. Under his rule, they built some major Islamic schools, including the famous Registan madrasas in Samarkand, which today are UNESCO recognized as the first of their kind in Central Asia. These learning centers helped keep the rich Islamic vibe alive and kicking in the region. Nowadays, Uzbekistan's all about celebrating its independence while holding on to its cultural and historical heritage with pride. In 1991, Uzbekistan declared independence after the Soviet Union went kaput, a big deal moment that pumped up national pride for its rich culture and history. Tashkent, the capital, is just one of many bustling cities in the country, which also boasts historical gems like Bukhara and Samarkand. Situated smack dab in the heart of Central Asia, Uzbekistan rubs shoulders with Afghanistan and Turkmenistan to the south, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan to the east, and Kazakhstan to the north and west. For folks keen on exploring this intriguing country, the entry rules are pretty friendly for most international visitors, who usually don't need a visa for short stays. However, those looking to settle in for a longer haul or work in Uzbekistan will need to snag a residence permit and a work permit. Plus, for smooth sailing, it's recommended to pick up Uzbek, the official language, though Russian also gets you around just fine. The local culture is deeply influenced by Islam, the religion practiced by over 90% of the population. Uzbekistan, a country in Central Asia, rocks a strong Islamic vibe, but it's also got a modern twist that gives folks plenty of freedom in how they dress and what they believe. It's got more cultural kinship with nations like Kazakhstan and Russia than with the Arab countries. Despite rubbing elbows with areas that might seem dicey, like Afghanistan, Uzbekistan is actually pretty darn safe and stable. This place is often considered one of the sweetest spots to live among the Central Asian nations. Living here can be a real win, especially if you're earning in US dollars. The favorable exchange rate can stretch your cash a long way. Even swapping a small sum like $100 can score you a hefty stack of Uzbek som. When you visit Uzbekistan, you'll be quickly charmed by its bustling bazaars, colorful markets, and mouth-watering traditional bread. In Uzbekistan, bakeries are a real spectacle, with passionate bakers whipping up distinct breads on every corner. Here, you can savor bread varieties with flavors you might never have tasted before. And the best part is, each one sets you back only about $1, a steal compared to European prices. Uzbek cuisine puts a strong focus on meats, making them surprisingly affordable. Picture yourself enjoying top-quality barbecue for just $3. At local markets, the interaction kicks off with eye contact, followed by offers of free samples of their goods. a gesture that underscores the trader's confidence in what they sell and serves as an invitation for new customers. Plus, the hospitality and warmth of the Uzbeks are as remarkable as their culinary delights. In Uzbekistan's markets, you'll find a vibrant atmosphere reminiscent of Mongolia's bazaars, both in scale and in the style of the stalls. As you stroll through these spots, it's common to see the sparkle in people's eyes and receive warm smiles. However, like in many tourist destinations, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are times when you might stand out as a target for being a tourist and not as familiar with the area. While this isn't an Uzbekistan exclusive issue, you can encounter opportunistic folks anywhere in the world. It's good to be aware. For instance, you might get charged 3 times the normal fare for a taxi, or encounter it in historic cities like Bukhara and Samarkand, where fake officials try to charge for entries that are actually free. Even in souvenir shops, prices can be inflated. These situations seem like mind games aimed at taking advantage of the unsuspecting, so it's always wise to stay vigilant. My suggestion when planning a trip to another country is to seek the assistance of a local guide beforehand. Exploring new places alongside someone who deeply knows the local culture can shield you from potential exploiters and enrich your experience. In Uzbekistan, no matter where you're from, locals greet tourists with tremendous enthusiasm and warmth. Uzbeks take pride in welcoming international visitors, especially in rural areas, where it's common for families to invite you into their homes, offer food, and go out of their way to make you feel welcomed. The local cuisine is packed with tasty dishes that often combine meat and rice. Additionally, an interesting cultural characteristic is the constant consumption of tea, which goes from dawn till dusk, ranging between black and green tea, consumed abundantly by the Uzbek people. In Uzbekistan, it's a common and tasty thing to enjoy teas, often flavored with lemon or other stuff. Also, horse meat and kumis, a traditional drink, are pretty big deals in the country. When you visit an Uzbek home, especially apartments, it's the norm to kick off your shoes before stepping in. This practice is even more on point in Tashkent, the capital, where knowing some Russian can really grease the wheels for mingling with folks and making friends. Russian gets a lot of play in the daily grind of the capital, making it easier for Russian speakers to mesh with the local crowd. But one big thing to consider for anyone planning a trip to Uzbekistan is the crazy hot weather in the summer. Cities like Tashkent, Bukhara, and Samarkand can hit temperatures above 50 degrees Celsius, making the season a real tough nut for visitors to crack. For those planning to visit between August and November, get ready to brave the scorching heat, but also to indulge in the perks of affordable prices on a variety of nuts and fresh fruits. This time can be especially appealing for architecture and photography buffs, since Uzbekistan, historically enriched by the Silk Road, boasts an invaluable heritage that draws tourists from all over the globe, despite the soaring temperatures. As the sun sets, urban life in cities like Bukhara, Tashkent, and Samarkand kicks up a notch. Nights in these spots are buzzing with activities, offering everything from dinners at restaurants with breathtaking views to live performances of traditional Uzbek dances. These dances, distinct from European ones, showcase a unique elegance, with dancers seeming to float on stage, reminiscent of the grace of swans, providing a visually memorable and culturally enriching experience. In addition to the dancing, the traditional costumes worn in the performances are truly stunning, adding even more brilliance to the shows. In Uzbekistan, alcohol consumption is unrestricted, allowing visitors to enjoy a vodka or whiskey in the evening as they please, in an environment that suits them, whether it's an authentic locale or a lively nightclub. Nightclubs, especially on weekends, are always bustling, reflecting the festive spirit of the Uzbeks. However, the history of the capital, Tashkent, also bears marks of tragedies, such as the devastating earthquake of 1966, which reached a magnitude of 8. This tragic event left over 300,000 people homeless, after destroying more than 36,000 buildings. The aftershocks were almost as severe as the main quake, reaching a magnitude of 7, and even today the memory of this catastrophe resonates among the inhabitants. Back in the day, living in Tashkent was like riding on an angry camel. After the 1966 earthquake, with substantial aid from the Soviet Union, Tashkent was rebuilt. The city not only bounced back, but also got a makeover, including the installation of a subway system, and its structures became prettier and more functional than before. Nowadays, most homes in Tashkent have between 4 and 5 floors, avoiding towering heights. Most of these buildings were erected post-quake and mainly consist of small apartments. Typically, they're 2-room units, a living room and a bedroom, spanning about 70 square meters. However, the housing situation has gotten trickier recently. Ever since Russia started mobilizing for the conflict in Ukraine, hundreds of thousands of Russians migrated to Uzbekistan, causing a surge in rental prices. Currently, the rates for these cozy apartments have shot up to at least around $500 a month. When you venture beyond the markets and stroll through the streets of Uzbekistan, one detail really stands out: the prevalence of Chevrolet vehicles. The near monopoly of this American brand in the country is thanks to Uzbekistan's policy of partnering with Chevrolet to provide more affordable cars to the populace. So it's common to see a flood of Chevys cruising the country's roads. Additionally, much of Uzbekistan is characterized by mountains and vast areas reminiscent of deserts. Most Uzbeks live in rural areas, where traditions like horseback riding are practiced fervently, in an effort to preserve customs passed down through generations. In these regions, meat consumption is a regular part of the diet. Uzbek cuisine is rich and diverse, standing out especially for its generous use of meat in typical dishes. It's common to come across meals that pair meat with rice, and even the fat from the meat is used in the preparation of local breads. One of the most emblematic dishes, especially in rural areas, is Uzbek pilaf. This dish goes beyond simple rice with meat, incorporating distinct elements like peas, dried grapes, and garlic, providing a unique and memorable flavor. Besides gastronomy, Uzbekistan is also famous for its centuries-old tradition in carpet making. These handmade carpets are highly valued in various parts of the world and are often acquired by tourists at affordable prices, representing a valuable exchange for dollars. For lovers of historical architecture, the city of Khiva is a must-visit destination. Preserved since the 6th century, Khiva stands out for maintaining its ancient charm, free from the invasion of modern structures, making it a rare glimpse of preserved past. The city is a true testament to Uzbekistan's rich history and an open invitation to those wishing to immerse themselves in an authentically historical atmosphere. In the city of Khiva, skilled artisans craft products that mirror its rich historical past, reflecting the cultural essence of Uzbekistan. This country is a melting pot of traditions and has been home to influential leaders throughout history. It's characterized by its hospitable people and a distinctive culture, celebrating both its ancestral heritage and deep Islamic roots. In ancient times, Uzbekistan was an epicenter of Islamic civilization. Cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, known respectively as the Pearl of the Orient and a vibrant Islamic center, highlight the region's historical significance. With a population of around 35 million, Uzbekistan recently celebrated 3 decades of independence following the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. During the Soviet period, from 1924 to 1991, despite Russian influence, Uzbeks maintained their identity, language, and connection to Islam, preserving their traditions amid significant changes. Uzbekistan stands out not only for its vehicles, but also for its immense bazaars, considered the largest in Central Asia. An impressive example is the covered market of Tashkent, which, when seen from above, resembles the shape of a dome or even a turtle shell. This market is an essential meeting point for local residents, where they do most of their daily shopping. In this vibrant spot, it's not uncommon for vendors to offer food samples to buyers, a tactic to encourage sales. In Uzbek bazaars, peculiar items like sunflower seed vending machines, Samarkand halva, and the sour cheese known as kurt are easily found. Cities like Tashkent and Samarkand are renowned not only for the products they sell, but also for the production of traditional Uzbek bread. The region's bakers have elevated the art of baking to such a high level that they venture into tandoors, clay ovens, to bake the bread perfectly. The dedication to quality is unwavering, and they make every effort to ensure that each loaf is as delicious as possible. Watching the production of Uzbek bread is as fascinating as tasting it. This bread, unique to the country, is made with a dedication and passion rarely seen elsewhere in the world. Uzbek bread, the result of hard work, stands out not only for its flavor, but also for its nutritional value, thanks to the variety of ingredients it contains. There are reports that, in the past, soldiers would take this bread to battles because it could stay fresh and edible for up to a month. This longevity is one of the many proud stories told by local bakers. On any given day, a typical bakery in Uzbekistan can produce up to 8,000 of these breads. In addition to bread, Uzbekistan is known for being one of the largest consumers of meat in Central Asia, with a vibrant street food scene that delights both residents and visitors. During the Soviet era, many Uzbek culinary traditions were suppressed, leading to a temporary loss of their culinary essence. However, nowadays, the streets of Uzbekistan are bustling with life, offering a rich culinary experience. Uzbeks take pride in being considered the heart of pilaf, a dish that dominates local cuisine. Restaurants start preparing it early in the morning, from 8 a.m. onwards, dedicating themselves to the art of cooking this beloved dish. When it comes to Uzbek cuisine, pilaf preparation is taken seriously, and it's not done in simple pots, but in huge cauldrons. These cauldrons are loaded with large amounts of meat, rice, chickpeas, carrots, and oil. Just imagine, a 100-kilo pilaf can contain up to 40 liters of sunflower oil. The process starts by heating the meat and the oil inside the large cauldron until it's perfectly cooked and loses any trace of pinkness, as Uzbek people aren't fans of undercooked meat. Next, carrots and chickpeas are added to the mix, enriching the meat with their flavors and textures. Rice, the central element of this national dish, is incorporated last, completing the transformation of ingredients into a flavorful pilaf. Cooking is a patient process, covering the cauldron with trays and letting the pilaf develop on its own terms. Hours later, the result is a meal ready to delight. When it's finally done, chefs pray and carefully mix all the ingredients, serving the pilaf that stands out not only for its taste, but also for the golden hue of the carrots mingling with the rice. This is the art and tradition behind Uzbekistan's national dish, a true celebration of flavors and colors. When it comes to Uzbek cuisine, 3 ingredients are essential: bread, rice, and a generous amount of meat. These items are staples in Uzbekistan's gastronomy, playing a central role in the local diet. For those planning to visit or live in Central Asia, it's important to enjoy meat, including less common varieties in the West, like horse meat, which is often used in the traditional pilaf. Moreover, it's interesting to note that in Uzbekistan, meat consumption is associated with an increase in cases of heart and vascular diseases among the elderly. While some argue that the issue doesn't stem directly from meat, but rather from the oils used in its preparation. In rural areas, a local delicacy called samsa, shaped like a seashell, stands out in rural cuisine, showcasing the rich variety of Uzbek food. In rural Uzbekistan, folks prefer to make their own bread and other dough items rather than buying them ready-made. The use of traditional ovens, instead of modern gas stoves, is a common practice and contributes significantly to the unique flavor of local cuisine. Nearly every house has a closed oven, where they whip up a variety of breads and other delights, like samsa, which can be stuffed with chicken or other meats. Besides the cuisine, Uzbekistan also charms with its vibrant everyday life and historical sites. Take Tashkent, for example, the most populous city in Central Asia, with 3 million inhabitants, offering a glimpse into the local lifestyle. For those who have visited Russia, Tashkent might seem familiar in various aspects, including its wide streets and roads, reminiscent of Russian architecture and planning. Uzbekistan, with its relatively modest population, is marked by wide avenues and large spaces between buildings in its cities, a feature that adds to the sense of urban vastness. These cities showcase architecture that bears notable similarities to Russian styles, a legacy of the Soviet era still visible today, including the old playgrounds that survive almost intact in less central areas. Currently, the country is experiencing a growing influx of Russian immigrants, making the Russian language quite prevalent, both in urban signage and in cultural outlets like bookstores. Russian influence is palpable in Uzbek daily life. On the streets, it's common to see street vendors offering a variety of goods, contributing to a vibrant atmosphere of local commerce. In recent decades, Uzbekistan has significantly opened up to the world, attracting major Western commercial brands that are beginning to establish outlets in the country. However, amidst these signs of progress, there are still concerning aspects, such as the presence of children begging on the streets of Tashkent, often sent by adults. In a colorful urban setting, even pigeons painted in various colors are part of the panorama of Uzbek cities, adding a peculiar element to the local landscape. At first glance, the colorful pigeons of Tashkent may seem to belong to an exotic species. However, the truth is that they are artificially painted, a creative strategy to attract tourists. Those who take care of them usually charge interested visitors for taking photos of them, turning these birds into a small source of income. The Tashkent Metro, inaugurated in 1977 as the first in Central Asia, is vital for getting around the city. Its stations, with dazzling decorations from the Soviet era, are true works of art that capture the attention of everyone passing through them. For longer trips, trains are the popular choice, operated by uniformed staff who present an image of professionalism and efficiency. Although the minimum wage in Uzbekistan is around $320, most workers earn around $500. This leads many young Uzbeks to emigrate in search of better economic opportunities in European and American countries. While Uzbekistan offers a rich tapestry of culture and delicious cuisine, many still see the country as a challenging place to build a financially stable long-term life. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any content. Leave your comment below sharing what you thought or any questions you may have. We love hearing from you. Thanks for watching and see you next time.